Prophet ﷺ. We've seen how the Prophet ﷺ was described as having tremendous character. And the Prophet ﷺ was the sum of all virtue, because every virtue that has been praised in the Quran, whether specific or general, the Prophet ﷺ was the most perfect example of that virtue. And every excellence that a human could possess, the Prophet ﷺ possessed that virtue in the highest of senses. Imam Ghazalis narrates a description of the Prophet ﷺ with various aspects of his conduct and his character and the way he was. He tells us that the Prophet ﷺ was the most forbearing, honest, just, and chaste of people. And we'll be looking at forbearance, hilm, right? And how important that is. The Prophet ﷺ told us that forbearance, hilm, is the best of character. And hilmu, sayyidul akhlaq, forbearance, which is that one not be moved by anger, but rather that one be moved by that which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was the most honest of people. He was known even before Islam as as-sadiqul ameen, the true and trustworthy. And the most just of people, right? The most just of people. He never wronged anyone, even when challenged about that, right? We look at examples. A few times when he was giving the spoils of war, some people got jealous and they said, and these were desert Arabs, right? Who just, who thought with their tongues, right? They said, "I'dil, be just." And what they wanted to say was, "Give me," right? So that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Wayhaka." What are you saying? If I'm not just, then who would be just? Right? If I'm not just, then who would be just? And the description continues, his hand never touched the hand of a woman whom he did not have immediate relationship with. And he was the most generous of men. He was the most generous of people. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's described in his generosity in the month of Ramadan that he was like the wind, right? Like the wind, unceasing in his generosity. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even when a lot of wealth came to him, not a dinar or dirham, no money would remain with him until the evening. No money that was excess, more than above and beyond his and his family's need would remain with him until the evening. Rather, he'd give it away in charity. We even know that once the prayer was about to begin, and the Prophet ﷺ cut through everyone who's praying, who was waiting to pray. And why? Because you remember there's a little charity money that he hadn't yet given out, and he gave it out before praying. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam exhibited a complete sense of sufficiency with his Lord. He did not take of those things which Allah gave him, except to the extent of his need and his provision. When he had wealth, he put some aside for his family. He used to have enough provision for a year for his family. But above and beyond that, his concern was not to maximize his net worth in this dunya. Right? People always were worried about their net worth, right? In material terms. The Prophet ﷺ's concern was his worth with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anything in excess, he gave away to others. And he himself never asked for anything. Right? He never asked others for anything, even when he was needy. And when he was asked for anything, he gave it, even when he himself had need for it. So if someone came to him asking for money, he'd give them the money, even if he had need for it himself. If someone came to him asking him for food, and he only had a little, he'd give the food that he had himself. And this is how he taught his companions and his family. We know the famous verse, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. And they feed their food, despite their love of it, to the needy, and the orphan, and the prisoner. Right? This is describing the believers in general, that they give away their food to those, they give away their food, they feed others, despite their need for the food. For whom? To the needy person, and the orphan, and the prisoner. And this, though it's a general praise, it is revealed specifically about a couple. Who is this couple? Does anyone know? There's a couple whom this specific verse relates to. A couple very close to the Prophet ﷺ. Anyone? Who's the couple? Yeah, it was Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Aisha, and Allah be well pleased with them. Right? They were both fasting, and they only had very little food to break their fast on. And just before Maghrib time, there's a knock on the door. Right? They went and opened the door. Who was it? It was a miskeen. It was a needy person. So what do you need? I need food. What did they do? Unhesitatingly, they gave the food to the needy person. And had nothing but water to break their fast on. And then they fasted the next day as well. And they had just very little food. They used to work, right? But times were tough. And often the money they earned, they'd give away to those more needy than them. So the little that they had for food, the second day, they're getting ready to break their fast, and there's another knock at the door. Who was it the second time? Miskina wa yatima wa asira. The second was the yatim, was the orphan. An orphan came, a child, who was hungry. What did they do? And they'd been fasting, and this is all the food they had. They gave it away. And the third day was a prisoner, because the Muslims didn't believe in Guantanamo and Abu Ghraib and all these places. Right? There was a different kind of prisoner at that time. Right? Where would prisoners be? No, they wouldn't be in jail. Prisoners would walk around the streets. Right? One, because they had a sense of honor. Right? It would be a shameful thing to run away. Right? The Arabs had a sense of dignity. Right? And secondly, because they were treated like human beings are supposed to be treated, right? With that basic human dignity and respect. So a prisoner was walking around the streets in Medina. Says, who do I go and ask? He went, this is the third. They came, it's in the Quranic verse. Miskina wa yatima wa asira. And the prisoner comes. Yes? Do you have any food? They gave the prisoner. Now, you know, the needy person and the poor person, you can understand. But the prisoner, right? They gave him the food. And this was memorable enough that Allah SWT refers to that incident in the Quran, right? By way of allusion. And this was the way of the Prophet ﷺ and the way of those whom he